Everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm here with Mr. Nick O'Shea from O'Shea & Son Builders. Nick, firstly, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate you having us on today. I'm pretty excited.
I'm excited to get you on here, mate, and talk about how you've unlocked your potential. You know, I got a great experience with Nick. I actually built my house through you. About 2 years ago it finished.
Yep.
And, when I was selecting a builder, it was huge for me to build my family house. I'd done many projects before, nothing of this scale. And you just absolutely nailed it, mate. And you nailed it so much. You won how many awards for that house?
Yeah, look, we won the Brisbane house in that category for that price range. And then we went along to win the Queensland, and we also won the Australia National Awards for that category as well, which was a pretty huge thing for all of the team involved. So, for you guys as well as homeowners to have confidence in that you've built a stunning home, and we're just really proud to be part of it with DZ as well and all the team.
So a couple of things to unpack here. It was a Master Builder Australia. So we're talking, that's the Master Builders Australia is pretty much the biggest.
The biggest, the best prize you could win in that category, for the entire country. So,
and you're pretty excited about it, man. I actually remember getting a few phone calls.
There was definitely a few phone calls late at night.
Georgie, it's 10 o'clock at night. Hi, Nick, is everything okay?
Yeah.
We won, Georgie!
We won again. So we also got best pool as well in the Brisbane and Queensland for that one, which was pretty amazing.
Shout out to Santoya Pools. Was fantastic to deal with. And that's what, you got like a dream team around you of all these superheroes, man. Like I remember designing my pool, I thought I nailed it. And then they came in and see me. They had all the plans to my house. And I said, look, George, I don't want to upsell you here, but can I just give you a little recommendation?
Yep.
It's going to cost you more money.
Yeah.
But let me just show you something. And he drew a little arch, and he had me at the arch.
Yeah.
And I knew at that point, they nailed that pool. Look, for you, building a house isn't a one-trade thing, is it?
It isn't. No.
You're king of getting everyone together to collaborate.
Yep.
And all the trades on my project have a lot of respect for you. Everyone in your business has a lot of respect for you, and I, in fact, often compliment you that you run a similar, different business, but I feel like your team is a very good team environment, a great culture. How important is that, Nick, to you for your business, for you to get the product that you deliver to your clients? Yeah,
look, it's everything. Without your team, without the right leadership, without the right people. Then, in any type of service industry, it's nothing. We put a lot of emphasis into ensuring we've got the right team members around us, and so that can be the people that work for us, but also, directly with us or subcontractors or suppliers as well. So in order to be able to do that, you've got to try to work with some people and really understand, but also explain to them about what you want out of the relationship and what you need, and then understanding what they need as well. So often people forget about that step, is understanding what the other party needs as well, and being able to have those shared goals, shared visions, shared understanding of quality. Then once you sort of can develop that and people buy into the enjoyment of that, the process becomes so much easier. And the process becomes enjoyable for not just all the people that are working on the home, but also the homeowners. So you hear so many horror stories of homeowners building with builders, and they sort of lose trust, they lose faith, they lose enjoyment in the process because it's not managed well and it's not set up in the right way from the beginning with everything that you need to go through that process. And that comes down to systems and procedures, but also understanding of everyone knowing what they've got to do at what point.
And you take that accountability for everyone, right?
Yep.
Is so many different trades, so many moving parts. But for you to have a truly enjoyable experience as a homeowner, it's so good that you take accountability for all your trades.
Yep.
It takes the pressure right off, and that's how you get probably – what percentage of your business would be client referral?
Oh, it would be as high as probably 80 to 90%, referral or at least people seeing what you do and you can see the way that we conduct ourselves. And I always pride ourselves on that with what the neighbours sort of think of you, so and what they might say about you or about the guys on site and how respectful they are. So ensuring everyone has that, again, that shared belief of looking after those around us. it's so easy to sort of people to go into business with the one track mind of trying to just make money where, yes, that's an aspect of running a business. But for me and for Carly and all of our team, it's about doing the right thing. And I think that's probably going to be a huge factor that's changed, a lot of the trajectory of our own success is by changing that belief, by doing the right thing. And that comes down to every single person you encounter, not just your homeowners, but also your subcontractors, your neighbours that you run into, whatever it might be, your employees, everyone. If you just do the right thing, that for me, that really comes back to you in life as well.
Is there an event or something that happened in your life? Was there advice from someone you respected, like doing the right thing? Why does Nick O'Shea always do the right thing?
Look, it definitely comes back down to probably our parents. Both Carly and I both come from really, really great families. Our mums and dads are both very working class, hard-working people.
Your mum's a gun, mate.
Yeah. But just those shared values, and just being able to understand that it's about, you don't want to sort of take advantage of people. You want to look after people, and I think the more people realise that when you do that, the more enjoyable your life is. Everyone has their story. Everyone has their moments in their life, I think, that they look back on and go, look, that was probably a bit of a turning point. But I think, it's what you take from those moments and how they make you and what they turn you into.
Tell me a moment. I mean, I still remember mine.
Mm-hmm. Look, mine was probably when my dad, he had an accident on a site. He was a builder as well. Took some long service leave from his own work. He was working for the government at the time to build his own house. I had just come back from being overseas for a bit and was helping him out. And he had a fall from 6 metres up, fell back off the top of a building and off the frame and fell down. And, he become a paraplegic as a result of it. And I think living through that experience with him and the resilience of the man still today, 20 years on, how he goes through everything that he does is just unbelievable. And, those sort of moments, they really sort of teach you to stop and look back and think, and what's it all really worth, and so that comes down to your family and how you respect your family and your friends and the time you put into that, and those are the sort of values that we take into business.
And we can see it, mate. As a customer of yours, I can feel it. It's a family vibe.
Yep.
You do care. You're proud of your product.
Yep.
And you only work with similar people with similar values. And
yep.
And that's how you produce such a beautiful product that wins Master Builder of the Year. There's no coincidence that, mate.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you do for other people, and you've created a big business. How many people are part of your team now?
I've got 20 in the team, yeah.
And you bring a lot of people on the journey, mate. Like I know you got a lot of people doing their apprenticeships there, giving them opportunity.
Yep.
And people are, becoming leaders in your organisation. You're growing people.
Yep.
And you told me before about your dad's accident and how that sparked something in you. What other things how has that motivated you to do what you're doing?
I think if you see the diversity of how much that can affect someone's life, and especially my old man was very proud. I can do it all type of bloke, that sort of that generation, and being able to see so many things that he couldn't do, despite him trying his darndest to give it a good go, that it shapes you and it sort of shocks you and it makes you want to be better, and in everything you do, and it inspires you to grab life by the horns and really want to take it on. And I've kind of, inadvertently have taken that into everything that I do, and that's being a father, being a husband, being a business owner, and also being a mentor. When you talk about a lot of the young guys that we try to shape, and we do, we make it a big opportunity for these guys to come on and give them the chance that if they put in, they'll get out. A lot of that then comes back down to, well, I've been a mentor to a lot of them through the years as well, which again also gives me inspiration, being able to talk to these guys and and I can see these patterns through men's mental health, especially in our industry, of different ages and different things that go on, and seeing when they have their ups and their downs, and being able to sort of help guys with that. From my experiences of going through a bit of that with Dad as well, through the different stages of acceptance of injury, and so being able to have that opportunity, it inspires me to keep trying to help people, keep trying to So there's a lot of things that mean a lot to us around that mental health, men's mental health, being able to try to help guys through those things, and that's just a side part of one of the things that means a lot to us outside of our business, I guess. But it's something that really shapes who we are as well.
And Nick, you are. I mean, I actually didn't address this earlier, but you are have for 2 mad charity balls in a row being one of our platinum sponsors was a huge commitment, and I'm very, very grateful for that, brother. I mean, the first one I sort of cornered you were building my house. But the second time last year, we weren't doing any business together.
No.
And I called you and I wasn't sure what you were going to say, but you unconditionally said, it's for a good cause, George. And I can tell now talking to you, you're a man of values.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know this thing about the mental health with you.
Yep.
Not with you personally, but your
support of
your support.
Yep.
I think it's big. I mean, people listening to this, they're trying to learn, how to be a master builder, how to be a top real estate agent. There's a lot of people who want, but what if they're battling with a bit of mental health? Is that normal? I mean, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more normal than what people probably sometimes let on, but also identify. And the biggest thing I think is for me is awareness and understanding of what that is, and so that we can just put those conversations out there. And one of the really important things, we do this charity walk every year for Spoke to a Bloke, and it's called Walk for a Bloke, and you walk for 25 kilometres through Brisbane City, and you end up going through Suncorp, and you end up at the Normanby at the end and all that. And surprisingly, you think, I walk all the time, it'll be fine, but it does hurt a fair bit. But the best thing, one of the great things I've heard and through the conversations with that is as men, we sort of sitting in front of each other right now and making eye contact and telling each other what our problems are, we struggle with that. But sometimes sitting next to a guy, whether it's at the footy, in a golf cart, walking along on the street, when we're not making eye contact, we seem to be able to be okay to open up. And so, that's the point of the walk, is you get men talking, you get blokes walking next to each other and sort of having an understanding of how to open up and how to, all guys from different paths of life and all guys from different ages. And by being able to create that community of group of guys to understand what it is that's going on with you at that point in time, there's a good chance the guy next to you's actually already been through it, or knows someone that's been through it, or knows how to contact someone that will be able to help you through that. So, we've started to do our own golf day with all of our subbies as well once a year, where we like to try to spread that same message and say, look, boys, we all work together for, however many times in the year. We probably see each other more than we do our wives. So it's so important to look after each other and be there for each other. And, it's just one of those things. It's just that awareness aspect of guys, because so many people go through stuff and you just don't know. And making it more comfortable for guys to understand that it's normal and it's okay, So
that's big, mate. I'm sitting here talking to you, Nick, and you're a family man. You value life, and I know you love your family to bits.
Yep.
You got a great business which delivers a fantastic product, but it's not just business. It's you're there out in the community. You're out with your people. You're really caring about how people are feeling, and that's big. I think that's something in that. I think that's a lot to do with your success.
Yeah, look,
you're a man with a big heart.
I think so. And, I think you're probably looking in the mirror a bit as well, George. You're much the same. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from. You surround yourself with people that are very much like-minded and like-valued. And I think that's a really important aspect of life, is to ensure that you surround yourself by the people that make you the best version of yourself. And so we try to do that as much as we can, and sometimes we end up surrounding ourselves with the wrong people. But the more and more you do the right thing and surround yourself with those right people, it helps you drive to those successes. And look, for me, community is important, and that's the community we create within a business. So subcontractors, suppliers, all the people that, all the guys and the girls that work directly with us, it's important. And then for us, it's their families and, their kids and everyone else that's part of that whole community. And, being able to leave this earth knowing that you've contributed to and helped create a community of like-minded people, have created where people have been able to thrive in themselves and thrive and enjoy life. Well, that's doing life right.
What's success to you, Nick?
Probably a lot of that, mate. I think success is happiness, for me, and that comes from so many different aspects in your life, and that can be happy with your family, you're happy with your drive, you're happy with what you're achieving each day, but it comes down to what you set as your goals and what you can achieve, and success comes from that. So I've always been a bit of a head in the sky sort of kind of guy, and always have got dreams and aspirations to be able to keep pushing and keep doing more. And, sometimes you run out of time in the day to do that and other things get in the way. Fortunately, I've got my wife, Carly, who she humbles me and she grounds me and she says, "Calm down, mate." But that's great, and that's what makes us perfect. Is it's that yin and the yang. So, but it's that success is all of those things. Being able to dream, but also don't dream too far, you dickhead. Just sort of just. So I think for me it's so many aspects of life, but to know that you can leave and you've done everything you can and you've done everything good, So
it's big that you are zooming out, looking at your life, realizing I'm only here once.
Yep.
I only got one crack.
Yep.
I'm Nick O'Shea. I don't get to die and come back again.
No.
So I'm going to be the best builder I can. I'm going to try and help as many people as I can.
Yep.
And I'm going to grab life by the balls.
Mm-hmm.
Or would you say the horns before?
Yeah, either or will do.
And you are living it.
Yeah.
And that's important. I mean, I'm the same, and I think it's important also to have that vision of your ideal life. How often you reflect on that vision?
More so lately, I've been sort of doing it a bit more, and sometimes you would know, George, you have these moments in your life where you feel like you're just kicking every goal, and then there's other times where you just feel like you're stuck in the mud. And that's,
what do you do to get out of that?
Yeah, well, that's where you've got to sort of start and run with. The really simple things. If I always do what I've always done, I'll always get what I've always got. And if you just think about, you've got to make small changes. It doesn't need to be massive changes. You don't have to start a whole new family and a whole new business. You just need to make small changes to be able to get yourself out of that current rut. So small changes to understand how it's going to be to help, again, refocus on what your goals are. Step back. This is what we want to achieve.
What's some things that you've done recently to make big changes?
Well, I've jumped on board with a mentor that you've sort of recommended to me as well.
Have you had a catch up?
Yeah, we had a half-day session the other day.
How was that?
Really good. So that's sort of just another thing, just sort of changing so that I can. I've felt like I've been in a bit of a rut of this last sort of 6 months where I've just been bogged down with work, and I want to start pulling back and refocusing. So that's where
sometimes you got to slow down to fast up.
You do.
So you're leading 20 people, and you're leading your family, and Nick's leading a lot of people. But who's leading Nick? So that's why everyone's got to have a leadership.
They do.
And like I've got someone who leads me, and they challenge me. They keep me accountable to be the best version of myself.
Yep.
So I can be a better husband, a better father, and a better leader for my business.
Yep.
And so I think sometimes it's important to have that. Well, for me, it's 100% important.
It is, and that's it's also about, for me, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, I think. And a lot of people are afraid of change. But if you take on change, then, you're going to see more success, or you're going to see a different result. And sometimes it's not always going to be the right result.
Well, let me ask you this one question, because I think you're a big processes, procedures, policy kind of guy. Were you always like that? Because there's no way you could operate your business right now doing the projects that you're running. I've seen your business like clockwork. You built my house in less than a year. It's a good concrete house.
Mhm.
It would have been done in 9 months, but I chose some tiles
It just took a while to get here.
and a door from somewhere, and it
Yeah.
blew out everything.
Yeah.
But it was still a year. It was unbelievable result.
Yep.
That's I'm a big process procedures guy, but I wasn't born with that. How
Yeah.
how that happened to you?
I don't really know. I think in some ways my brain is just sort of set up like that, where it can just really, break things down, and I can see it. I can see the whole picture. It's I don't know really why it's like that, but I've then had to try to create that within my business as well, and create that blueprint of what your brain's thinking of. Hey, think about this, this, this. Think about this, this, and this, so that you can pass that on, so people can start doing that as well. Thinking how you think. I guess.
think that's a big part of your success, surely.
Yep.
But I think something that we haven't spoke about yet is your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Those relationships with your subbies are strong.
Yep.
There's a lot of respect with them and you.
Yep.
How did you do that?
I think a lot of that comes down to, respect is earned, isn't it? So you've got to give all of the right things and to be able to get respect back. So, everyone wants to feel valued, and everyone should be valued. You've got to reward that value as well when they, or what they're doing for you. It's really simple things like, just communication's obviously the biggest thing that'll ever exist in any business. Paying someone on time. That's, especially in our industry, that's gold for them, because you're respecting them and saying, hey, I thank you for what you've done. Here's your money. You've done such a great job. Let's move on to the next one. It's the simple little things where so many businesses think, oh, well, let's hang on to the money into our account as long as we possibly can. But, you're probably not valuing the person who's asking you to say, hey, I've just done this. I've done a really good job. But, communication, it comes back down to being able to talk to them about what you may want something done differently. And it's not going in and yelling each time, is it? It's about sort of saying, hey, can you see how this is done like this? I know it's frustrating, but I think we're going to need to change it like this. So being able to communicate is pretty key to success of relationships, particularly in the building industry, that a lot of people struggle with.
Let's be real. There would have to be times where you've had tough conversations with people.
Hey, I've been renowned to be an arsehole at times, without a doubt in the world. But, and the only times that I have to, in my opinion, feel like I have to do that is because you're not delivering on what you've said you're going to do. And for me, that's important. If you say you're going to do one thing and you do another, well, we've got a problem. Mm-hmm. But if you say what you're going to do and you've done your best and you've delivered, well, I can't get angry at that, because that's all you can do. But I've definitely had to have plenty of hard conversations, plenty of.
But in your industry, you have to do that, right? You are accountable at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. It's your name on the sign out the front, so you got to make sure that it's going to fit what you believe is that high quality. And at the end of the day as well, it's ensuring the clients are happy at the end of it. There's so many people again in the industry that want to cut corners or, hope they don't notice that or whatever it might be, But if as a quality tradesman in your heart of hearts that it's not good enough, you got to do it again. And if you don't, then you're not doing justice to your name. So
how important is your name?
It's very important to me. And I think it's something that you've got to. It's funny that the process is as your company gets bigger and bigger, you've got to let go of a lot of aspects of your work, It's not just me swinging a hammer on site anymore like it was.
I think you're barely swinging any hammers.
15 years ago.
I did see the roof once.
I did go up there once, yeah. But, 15 years ago I was, and it was me and one or two others just sort of doing what we were doing. So, and as you get, more and more bigger and bigger, you sort of lose that aspect of it. So, your name is really important, and being able to sort of continue to express that to everyone. This is what it is. This is how it needs to be. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be ashamed of something that's been produced.
Especially if you're a man who 100% believes to be a man of your word.
100%. That's it.
And you know that respect isn't bought, it's earned.
Yep.
And so your values are strong, and and we can see that.
And I think it is something that's probably, I don't know, it's kind of seems like it's gone, hasn't it? Of late, being a man of your word.
But not many people have their name as their business.
Yeah.
So that's big.
Yeah.
You put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So Nick, something else that happened, you having an apprentice of the year for Brisbane and Queensland, massive. And it just shows such great leadership and love. But I want to dig into it just about having so many young boys, or men we'll call them, working for you, finishing school and they're coming to be a chippy.
Yep.
There's, a lot of mental health. I mean, what are some signs of mental health in your industry when everyone's, got hammers and being men? What are some early signs?
Look, for us, I guess it's really important. We set up sort of within the company as well, each sort of senior member in the team or the leading hands of the team they'll have one or two guys that they sort of look out for, and touching base with those guys to sort of say how you're going. But the signs become really obvious on site, and depending on the age of the person as well. So really young guys, you start to see it because they start to lose their cool really quickly. These are the sort of, in my opinion, some of the times you really see where they are starting to struggle, and so you go, "Hey, mate, how you going? What's going on?" And I'm fine. But if you sort of, everyone's fine until you sort of keep asking, "What's going on?" You're good. And you don't have to keep pushing on that point in time, but you keep keeping an eye on what's happening and keeping an eye on that situation. So it's important to be able to just see the signs of things changing and the changing of moods, changing of them turning up late, or just things that are out of character, and then you'll eventually get an answer of, I broke up with my girlfriend, or, I'm just struggling a bit at the moment, I can't seem to save any money, or whatever it might be. But you'll sort of see the moods changing and out of character behaviour. If you're spending 8 hours a day with someone, you should be able to see those behaviours change. Is a really big one. As guys get a little bit older, I actually think it goes the other way. They go more withdrawn, and they probably can't focus as well. And I've always talked about there's a stage of when a young man first becomes a dad. I reckon there's this little cloud period of a stage where all of a sudden they feel like the entire world is on their shoulders because they've got a family that they've got to support right now. And there's this stage of like, oh, what do I do? How do I make sure this happens? And it's a big moment, it's huge, obviously, for all the women out there with going through that whole process. But I've witnessed guys going through the aftermath of the baby being around for probably about a month or two where they really feel this weight of the world on their shoulders sort of thing. And so, again, just ensuring that you keep talking. And so I've found over the years, because I've witnessed this quite a few times now, is to sort of find those times to keep talking to them. How you going with it all? And again, it just comes back down to you can see the signs, but it's also how hard is it just to take the moment just to ask how your mates are going? Yeah. And that's such a huge thing, is creating that culture where everyone does look out for each other and see how they're going and noticing those changes. So, but that comes down to culture. You know what it's like, George. You've got a beautiful culture here with the team as well, and making sure that they're all friends, they're all family. It doesn't take anything to ask, hey, how you going?
Take them for a walk.
It's not hard to take them for that walk and get them side by side.
And I think anyone, listening to this right now, if you're struggling, reach out to a friend. Go for a walk. I've been going for a lot of walks lately, and it's so good. I used to think that I'd have to go to the gym and smash myself for an hour, but as I'm getting older, just going for a walk, talking to someone funny is so good for the mental health.
Yeah, no, it's huge, and sometimes even you're going to go catch up with someone for a coffee, pick up a takeaway and go for a walk. It makes such a difference, and you'd be surprised how much better chat you actually get out of the other person when you're walking with them side by side.
So, Nick O'Shea, you wanted to be a builder from when you were a kid?
Yes and no. My dad was a builder, so like I had a lot of times where I would, jump in and give him a hand and do certain things, and then he stopped. He didn't have his own building company anymore, and he started work for the Queensland Housing. So those opportunities to go and help him do things, it become less and less as I got older. When I probably could have stepped into an apprenticeship with him if I needed to. Or wanted to. So coming out of school, I went straight into uni and got a degree in business management. And just because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I thought this was something that was probably pretty broad that might help. I then went into the path of working in a bank and
Really?
and hated it. And then I went overseas, lived overseas for a couple of years,
Yep.
and then come back and sort of got a bit of a taste of it. It was around that time when Dad had his accident, actually, that I had to sort of take over the job site, and I had little experience as a carpenter, let alone a builder.
Is this on the house that he was building for himself?
Yep. So I had to take over that because he was in hospital. And so every day I'd work all day on the job site, underskilled, really didn't know what was doing, but still had to meet with all the subbies and meet with everyone and talk to them about what was happening. And then in the afternoon I'd go in and I'd sit in hospital with Dad for about an hour and a half and tell him everything that happened that day, and he'd tell me what I needed to do the next day. So that was my crash course on how to be a builder, which was beautiful in its sense. For as awful as the time of it was for Dad, it was a real eye-opening moment for me as to what I wanted to do. And so, I then sort of had a friend who ran a company, and I said, look, I want to be a bit serious about this. So I got an official mature apprenticeship with him at that point in time. And I knocked that out pretty quickly and pretty well started doing our own work straight away.
Whereabouts overseas were you?
I lived in London on and off for about 2.5 years, travelled around Europe multiple times, South America.
So you finished at Glevo.
Yep.
And you went to uni, and then you went overseas. You also worked in a bank at that time. And it was sort of, you were put in a situation where you had to finish the family house.
Mm-hmm.
But then you realised you loved it.
I did.
And then it was crystal clear on where you wanted to take this thing?
Yeah, and I think that's where I knew, like, I needed it. I could see the path of what I needed to do to get there.
So did you see O'Shea and Sons, master builders at that point? What's possible, honestly?
Not at that point. I think it got to a stage pretty quickly where I felt like I knew that I could see what I needed to do to be a good business, a healthy business. I knew that pretty early, I think. And once that kind of come about, I don't think you ever look at that far in advance that you can see sort of master builders, but like I awards, but I do sort of feel like I had the vision of at least being able to build a company that was going to be successful in many ways, through potentially master builders, but also through that community being built.
The reason I say that is you started your business with O'Shea and Sons, so you must have thought big.
I did, and I always thought it was going to be a business that was going to sort of hopefully be multi-generational, and I've ended up with 4 sons, and my wife blames me that I put the curse on our family that we didn't have any girls, and that is because I named the company and Sons.
And so was that you? Did you create that before you even had kids?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, man. Huh?
So the absolute curse.
Or was it meant to be?
That's it. And
do you believe much of that?
I do. I think, I think there is a bit of, it was written at some point in life. But you've got to work your way to earn that as well.
I know. Mate, it's all hard work.
It is. So,
but you got a bit of a vision for your life, haven't you?
I do. And, and I could just about pinpoint what each one of my sons is going to do now as well within the business. So, who's the engineer and who's the architect? And
but mate, that's critical. I mean, you're forward thinking.
Yeah.
And so for those who are watching and thinking that it just falls on their lap, is that going to happen?
It certainly doesn't. There's so much work that goes into it, and with every bit of success, there's sacrifice, and that comes down to sacrifice of time, money, effort, countless sleepless nights. There's sacrifice that comes with success, and that comes down to a lot of hard work and a lot of risk taking.
Mistakes.
A lot of mistakes, and it's just got to surround yourself with the right people that can bounce you back from those mistakes, and that's something where Carly's been so critical in my life, is to be able to give me so much perspective on so many situations. She's got such a great heart and a great ability to be able to give you a shoe on the other foot, and so that perspective has been a godsend in our business so many times before. And being able to have people to lean on and ask questions, like my mum and dad, like Carly, my sister Katrina as well. All those people around me who care, want to put that effort into you and see your successes as well as everyone around us. It's pretty big to be able to have that support network.
So we're now looking down the barrel of someone who wants to become a builder. They're thinking of maybe starting up their own business, or maybe they're even just thinking, they're in school listening to this. They're looking at becoming a builder or electrician. What's some advice, knowing that what you know, have gone through the whole process, mate? What's some advice you give these people?
Starting off, choose something that you're going to love to do. Work is work. Everyone would rather go surfing or go play golf or go hang out with their mates, but you're going to have to work, right? So you might as well find something that you enjoy doing. For me, it was carpentry in the end, because I love doing it. I love creating. You love going through lots of different processes. Trial a few different things and see what you want to do, but something that you enjoy doing. You're never going to love it. You're never going to think that you might love it, but you're never going to it's never going to be as good as hanging out with your mates.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you can go to and do, like carpentry or electrical or any type of trade, you actually are hanging out with a lot of your mates a lot of the time, and it is quite fun. You're having a good laugh and there's music playing, and
Well, some of your mates are some of your contractors.
Absolutely, and some of the people that end up in that we're sort of working with, they become like family to you. They become your best mates, the people that you're actually working with, and that's a lot of our team. They go camping together, they go out on the weekends together, and they've become best mates through that. So that's probably your first thing. Enjoy doing what you're doing.
Try and find what you love. Doesn't matter if you go work for a bank.
Mm-hmm.
At least you actually learned that you don't like it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you've got nothing to lose. So
No.
take opportunities as they come.
Yeah. I think a big thing for me as well, I've walked through so many different different paths in my life, and so many of those paths have sort of led to the person that I am today. Even traveling overseas and getting to meet so many different people and talk to different people and understand how the things you should say and the things you shouldn't say. Those sort of paths. Working in a bank gave me a great understanding of how to better look and better understand money. I even worked at a jeweler's at one point, when I was going through uni. So I learned how to work into sales, So there's so many different parts of your life will make up you who you are. And it's important to really capture all of those moments in your life and make sure that they all count. And they will then show you where you want to be and who you want to be at the end. So
let's be real.
Yep.
The men we are here today sitting on these chairs,
Yep.
we weren't the same person 18 years old. We simply looked at this person and how they spoke and how they acted.
Yep.
And what we liked about that person and how they conducted themselves and so on. And we created this person who's in front of us today. That's what it's all about in your teenage years and your 20s.
Yep.
To become the father you are, become the leader you are.
Yep.
That's important as we're growing up.
100%.
There's a lot more to Nick than building a house. Nick is a man of substance. Nick cares about his community. And if you're out there and you want to become a builder, this is someone that you should look to follow. You could go work for another builder and have a completely different experience and taste about the construction industry. So we need more Nicks in the world. Nick, thanks for being on the podcast, mate. You're a good guy doing great things, and appreciate you.
Thanks very much for having us, George. Mate, couldn't say anything as kind as what you would say about me, mate. You just, everything you do, everything you touch, you can see your heart and your passion that goes into it. So Mate, we're absolutely honoured to be here today, and thanks very much for having us.
Thank you, mate.